Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Mr. Bill Simpson to the stage?
Good afternoon. This is a little break before the water taste contest, and we'll get right to it. This is a special recognition for someone that's really, really special. So this is for an outstanding public service to rural America. And our three water judges, two of them Senate appropriators, and Edna DeJardo. They all know this lady, and I believe they would also recognize this man for his character and his abilities and what he's done for rural America. And his name is Bob Ross. And the older folks like me will remember a celebrated painter named Bob Ross that did over 30,000 paintings and literally inspired people and influenced millions of people. We have our own Bob Ross that we're going to recognize here shortly. He's a very humble man. He has a PhD in economics from Duke. That's pretty good. He worked for decades in the Farmers Home Administration and the subsequent agency rural development. The fascinating thing is he was detailed to the Senate Appropriations Committee. And ladies and gentlemen, so the Appropriations Committee, they can get a detailee from federal agencies, and the agency still has to pay for it, and they don't really care for it, but if you're controlling their money, they kind of, understand it. So he was detailed up there, and he is the longest-serving detailee in the history of the committee, correct? And that tells you how much they admired and respect him and his service to rural development. He was entirely responsible for the rural development title, which is not an easy title. So words to describe this man I've heard repeatedly are kind, decent, integrity, thoughtful, unselfish, civil, humble, refreshing in an environment like this, I would say. And these are the characteristics we try to instill in our children and pay thousands of dollars to do so when they go to college and other things. He's such a humble man, he will not take credit for anything, nothing. For one example, the 2018 historic funding for rural development, historic, for the waterway systems all around the country. You call him up and he said, oh, no, I had nothing to do with that. Well, he did. In 2018, when we got more money than we requested for circuit riders, because he had a vision for us to help get the money out and to serve Puerto Rico, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't happen very often. You request a number like y'all are going to the Hill, and they say, no, we're going to give you more. I can tell you that doesn't happen much. Quiet things like the salary and expense account to keep the rural development staff in the field with their field structure and capable staff in the Washington office so Edna can carry out her mission. He was a champion there. And there are literally hundreds of examples like that this gentleman has done. So throughout his public service, he's been an absolute champion for rural America. And unlike the artist Bob Ross, a lot of people won't know his name and his face, but he's lifted the lives and touched thousands and millions of people. And what's good about it is we know who he is. And he has used these positions to serve others without regard for personal recognition. His dedicated service to the Department of Agriculture and to the Senate Appropriations Committee is to be commended. He is the epitome of what a great public service is. And that is our Bob Ross. And that gentleman is a class act. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask our President Kent Watson and Bob Ross to come up here and give us give Bob Ross a warm Rural Water applause for our appreciation in this Rural Water champion, Bob Ross.
Good afternoon, Rural Water. The Rural Water family would like to recognize Mr. Bob Ross this afternoon for his outstanding service to rural America. We have a plaque for him that says, "In grateful appreciation for your vision, legislative leadership, and unselfish dedication of service to the quality of life for rural America." Mr. Ross, like so many in this audience this afternoon, they never seek recognition for their service, and I know that it is not in your nature to do that either. So I am therefore honored to recognize you, sir, for your unselfish service to benefit others. You have earned it, and you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for those kind and extremely generous remarks. It's been a pleasure and a privilege working with this organization and trying to support these programs. They're very popular and very beneficial. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Michael Preston to the stage.
Good afternoon and greetings, Rural Water. Welcome to the 21st Annual Great American Water Taste Test. Let me tell you, that is one tough act to follow. We are all here today because we are standing on the shoulders of giants like Bob Ross. And we really, truly do appreciate you, and everyone in this room owes you a debt of gratitude. So I'm here today to guide us through what is the fiercest raging battle in Washington, D.C. today. And you thought I was talking about the impeachment trial, didn't you? Ha. Today, one of you will win for your community the most prestigious, the equivalent of the Lombardi Trophy in America for clean, healthy, refreshing drinking water. One of you will earn the right to claim America's greatest tasting water. Like Mark Twain said, whiskey is for drinking, water's for fighting. This is my first time up here at this microphone. I do want to just take a moment to take this all in. Like I mentioned yesterday, I've worked here for about 10 years. And for a few of those years, I was given the opportunity to be a roving correspondent, a field reporter out there in rural America. I was the sideline reporter. Well, now I feel like I've been given my own show at the top of the hour at prime time. And the pressure's on. The bright lights are up. So let me tell you something. I promise you, I will not tear up the speech. Too soon? Too soon? Without further ado, let me introduce to you the most discerning and perceptive judges rural America has to offer. As I introduce each of you individually, please come forward to the stage to receive your official lab coat. Morgan Almer. Morgan joined the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies in July of 2019. As the majority clerk, she is responsible for funding and policy issues related to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Food and Drug Administration's Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and the Farm Credit Administration. Prior to her time on the committee, Morgan worked in the office of U.S. Senator Richard Shelby, where he served on his policy team before being promoted to legislative director. Her legislative portfolio was focused on agriculture, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, infrastructure, water and fisheries, as well as economic development. Morgan is a graduate of the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. She and her husband, Daniel, also an Ole Miss grad, currently reside in D.C. Let's give her a warm welcome. Next, we've got Diane Neller, Minority Clerk of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture. Diane has served on the Agriculture Subcommittee since 2003 and was named Minority Clerk in August of 2018. She's been up there forever. As clerk, Diane is responsible for every facet of the budget and program execution for the Department of Agriculture and the Food and Drug Administration. She is responsible for crafting budget strategies and recommendations for the vice chairman, ranking member, and full appropriations committee members, and ensures all democratic priorities are maintained in the annual appropriations process. Diane specializes in USDA nutrition programs, foreign food aid, and the Food and Drug Administration. Diane is originally from Utah and has another full-time job of raising 2 sons. Let's give her a warm Rural Water welcome. And our last, most and very distinguished judge, Edna Primrose. She's done this before, everyone. She's got the taste buds for it. Edna Primrose has been Rural Development's Assistant Administrator for Water and Environment Programs since 2018. In this role, she leads multi-billion-dollar direct and guaranteed loan, grant, and loan guaranteed programs to benefit water and waste disposal systems in rural communities. These programs contribute to critical national strategies to enhance rural infrastructure in the United States and U.S. territories. Prior to this role, she served as USDA Rural Development Chief Operating Officer since 2012. In addition to managing rural development operations, she led the agency's disaster relief and recovery effort during the 2017 hurricane and wildfire season. Before joining USDA, she managed large-scale programs as the National Director for the Office of Job Corps at the U.S. Department of Labor. There she oversaw the facility infrastructure of more than 100 Job Corps centers in communities nationwide. She is a graduate and very active alumnus of the Towson University in Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, Assistant Administrator, USDA Water and Environment Programs, Edna Primrose. The final judging of our nationwide competition will be assessed by these 3 ladies. Again, let me re-emphasize and underscore the most distinguished panel of judges in our history. These women have been selected for their illustrious careers working on behalf of rural America, their refined palates, and their unquenchable thirst. The pressure and responsibility resting on each of you must be intense. In the interest of full transparency, we're sticklers for the rules around here, you know that. We must confirm that none of you have been bribed, coerced, or influenced in any way, and you weren't smoking any cigarettes backstage, were you?
No, sir.
Very good, very good. All right, it's now time to bring out our first sample. The finalists we have for you today are literally the best of the best. All contenders in the Great American Water Taste Test are winners of their State Rural Water Association competitions. After a day of sampling and more sampling, the front runners have emerged. Many thanks to our volunteer judges for the qualifying rounds. The judges will grade each sample on 3 criteria: clarity, bouquet, and the important factor of taste. We had 37 qualifying entries this year from around the nation, and despite all the rigmarole we put you through to get these samples here in the nation's capital during this historic time, We truly appreciate all your dedication and service to our industry. Each and every one of you is an unsung hero in this room, and you should be applauded for being the backbone of our great nation. We truly have the safest water supply mankind has ever known, and it's all thanks to you. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay. Clarity.
Well, here's a plug. I've got to do it. I'm going to seize the moment while the eyes of the world are upon us. The vast majority of water utilities in the United States are small. 94% of the nation's 51,000 plus drinking water systems serve communities with less than 10,000 people in them. And 81% of those serve fewer than 3,300 people. They all have very important responsibility of complying with all the applicable regulations and supplying the public with safe drinking water every second of every day. And they do an excellent job with limited economies of scale and resources. This is the great federal water policy paradox. And you navigate this with grace and class every single day. We appreciate it. Now I'm going to take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors. CoBank and Aquastore have been instrumental in getting this incredible competition up here into Washington, D.C. and onto the gridiron of this judging stage. CoBank provides a recharge and refresh break room engraved glass bottles for each state finalist and also pay for the bottles to be shipped to Washington for this competition. Could our Aquastore reps please stand to be recognized? And we'll hear from Mr. Mike Paulson a little later during the finals as they're being tabulated. Ladies, I don't think you're parched anymore, are you?
No.
Okay, all right, very
All
good.
right. Clarity. Okay.
I'm just a lowly staff member in the DC office. We all know that. My title is legislative and policy analyst, but what that really means is that I need to delve into the details of legislative proposals and policy plans that are crafted by Congress and the federal agencies. I take my job very seriously, I do. But in this hyper-partisan climate and the whirlwind 24-hour news cycle, I can use all of the help that I can get. The dawning of fake news has really thrown me for a loop, and I hope you don't mind, judges, if you help me get to the bottom of some of these burning questions I may have. First, Morgan, I'm going to ask you because I know your husband, who happened to be a judge a couple years ago,
That's true.
gave you a couple pointers. I know, Daniel. He gave you the inside track. I was reading about the USDA Circuit Rider program the other day and got confused. So I've got three kind of competing narratives that I saw. Do Circuit Riders, A, provide the primary assistance to small communities for the operation of safe and clean drinking water supplies? Do they, B, protect the sizable investment the federal government has made in rural water infrastructure? Or C, do Circuit Riders, are they in the field every day helping systems with compliance, operations, maintenance, management, disaster response, and training?
Well, Daniel did not tell me there was going to be a pop quiz, but I'd have to say that Circuit Riders do all three. All of the above.
Unbelievable.
No, it's a critical program, and the fact that many of you all are in the field and implementing it, we're just glad to be able to play our part and to try to move the program forward. Folks like Bob Ross and on my team, Patrick Carroll, who have made it a real priority. So again, thank you for the work that y'all do, and thank you for the question.
My pleasure. I didn't mean to put you on the spot
that's
there,
good.
but I hope that kind of may give a little advanced recon here for Diane and Edna.
Yeah.
Because I'm
for going first.
still conflated by all this fake news out there. So if you don't mind, I'm going to continue doing my due diligence. And Diane, I know you've been up there at the committee for a long time, and I was reading about the Grassroots Source Water Protection Program that was just reauthorized in the 2018 Farm Bill. Does that program, is that the only statewide, local community-based initiative ensuring environmentally progressive local land use decisions without the controversy and bureaucracy of regulatory programs? Is it that?
I'd have to say yes.
I was thinking it was that, but then I also read that it provides each state with at least one full-time person, and they organize and assist rural communities and farmers, and any other land use interests in the implementation of source water protection plans, including non-point source protection practices.
All true. All true.
That's what I thought. I was about
Good. It's a good program.
This program is very beneficial to small and rural communities across the country, as we all know. Diane, Morgan, and Ed know it better than anybody. But you know, that program in particular ensures the success and diminishes local controversy and voluntarily brings all the stakeholders into the room to define prevention versus remediation strategies, and it's really worked for years to come, for 4 years historically, and for years to come. It'll be a fundamental program for our mission.
So I just want to say, I'm not biased. I don't know. It's a blind judge, but much better than DC tap water.
We'll take that. Thank you, Diane. Well, geez. Thanks for helping me get to the bottom of that. Edna, I know I didn't get to you beforehand, so I'm going to have to just see if you can be nimble enough on your toes. I know you did this last year, so
We'll see.
good luck. I know you have extensive knowledge of our industry, and I also know that you used to work at the U.S. Department of Labor. Can you give me some guidance here? As you all know, we kicked off the Rural Water Workforce Initiative this year for the first time. We're making a formal request to Congress, and I can tell there's a lot of consternation out there. They can see us coming down the pike, and they're worried. So I'm just curious, for the past 5 years, has NRWA collaborated with the state rural water associations, your agency, the Department of Labor, the Environmental Protection Agency, and local rural water utilities to build the first nationally recognized DOL registered apprenticeship program for water and wastewater system operators?
I would say a resounding yes.
My goodness!
And well done.
That's incredible, because I'm under the impression that the employment data indicates that 50% of the rural water workforce is going to leave the industry in the next 10 years.
That's exactly right. And you all have been very proactive to make sure that you are preserving the exceptional craft of water and wastewater treatment. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you, Edna. We really appreciate that. A couple years ago, Edna came to our national conference, which was held in the President's great state of Texas in Fort Worth, and let us know that she was going to be investing in our association a certain amount of money to help us stand up our apprenticeship program. And we've done that, and we've got 22 states online offering this identifiable career path for the first time. It's novel to our industry, and it is going to be a legacy program for years to come, because there is a problem, we have the solution, and we've got Congress's and the agency's support to get that done.
Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
How many more you got? Keep going, girls.
All right.
Ladies, of course.
I just had a birthday. You can call me a girl.
Well, what's your assessment so far? I think it was a rather low barrier to get over this DC water.
That's true.
I would say a fine bouquet. Each of them are very unique, but all delicious. And I love doing this. It's really fun.
Good.
I never realized how different water could taste.
That's true.
It's excellent.
Okay. Don't look at mine.
So we're back talking a little bit about our Hill Day. Again, we really appreciate everybody coming to town this week to kind of inform Congress of the efforts that you guys are implementing day to day on the ground. And I'm hoping it. I've been up there on the Hill. I'm actually accompanying the Atlantic States Rural Water Association this year. And Jimmy and John, we've just had some great meetings, some great feedback. And I will say, it's really encouraging to see, I mean, the sheer wealth of knowledge and expertise that just those two guys have, and it's multiplied exponentially across this room. And I know we're really waving our banner high this week, and we're resonating with Congress, just because I can see it on the staff and the congressmen and the senators' face when we're meeting with them. And I know that is going to be really beneficial for us this fiscal year and for years to come. So again, I appreciate you coming to town. Now I think I am going to bring up Mr. Mike Paulson. And I'm going to ask him to say a few words. He's the Director of Water and Wastewater for CST Industries, and he's, put this whole thing together for us. So please say a few words, Mike. Thank you. You got it.
Thank you. Ladies, I just want to say you're getting off easy because yesterday a group of us sampled 37 glasses. Good afternoon. A few things about Aquastore and CST. In 1939, the A.O. Smith Company, now CST, launched its Aquastore brand of glass fused to steel water storage tanks. We believe Aquastore is the most cost-effective way for rural communities to store drinking water and wastewater based on the Aquastore tank life cycle. Our factory is located in rural DeKalb, Illinois. It employs approximately 100 people, and our tanks are made with American steel by American labor, and it is the only factory of its kind in the United States. We're proud to be part of the National Rural Water Association, and we are very proud to be a sponsor of the Great American Water Taste Test. Congratulations to all the finalists and to the eventual winner. Thank you.
It's coming down to the wire up here. I mean, the tension, you can cut it with a knife, I can tell. Got any feedback for me, judges?
It's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Oh, boy.
It will come down to the wire.
I can only imagine. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention we've got the Agriculture Appropriations Subcommittee staff up here. We've got the U.S. Department of Agriculture Water Environment Program up here, Assistant Administrator. But we also have a very tight partnership with the Environmental Protection Agency. And for years, we've worked with them in close collaboration to institute Safe Drinking Water Act compliance programs, training and technical assistance programs. And for the first time last year, we also worked on our federal priorities and included a Clean Water Act technical assistance program, which was actually funded in the appropriations bill last year. And I just want to reiterate how important our partnership is with the Environmental Protection Agency is as well, because the technical assistance and training that the operators need every year in these small communities is needed. I mean, that's law. We've got to stay in compliance with that. So I didn't want to forget about that as well, that relationship. So with that, go ahead, Morgan, please.
No, I was just going to say, if y'all don't mind, I'm really grateful that all of y'all are here and in town having worked in both personal office and now on the committee side, it really, really matters, your presence here and your interaction with the congressional delegations. We're working with limited budgets and limited resources, and it's very easy for folks to take things like clean water for granted. So your presence here and the reputation that your organization has in DC speaks for itself, and it's just critical that y'all are here and making your demands known so that the members then in turn make it a priority for us. So I just wanted to, again, say thank you very much for all the work y'all do.
Well, we appreciate that, Morgan. Thanks for those kind words. I know you've been working up there for a long time. And
That's one smart lady.
Thank you, Keith.
Well, with that, Diane, Edna, last minute feedback?
No, I just want to compliment the Rural Water Association. I know, as Morgan said, we have limited budgets, and when we get a lot of requests for your programs through member offices, that just shows the hard work that you all are doing, and that helps us make easy decisions to fund your programs because they're supported by a lot of members both sides of the aisle. So thank you for your work that you do on the ground to make our jobs a little easier. So thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I just want to say that our technical assistance providers are an extension of the USDA because we don't have the resources and certainly not the technical expertise that you have. And I just really value the partnership we have with the National Rural Water Association. The state associations are wonderful. The agreements that you have for mutual aid mean so much to communities when you're the first and second responders. And I can tell you, during the time that I've been in this job, I can always count on you. Before I even email you, you're emailing me to tell me what system you've reached out to after an emergency, what states are banding together, how you're creating a plan, and how you're helping communities. So I just want to say thank you for everything you do every day. Even the day-to-day pieces where you're making plans and helping systems try to figure out their future, that's just as important so they can be proactive. So I just want to tell you, I think you're fantastic. I thank you for all you do for rural communities, and you're making them stronger as a result. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Edna. And all of those comments are just music to our ears. We feel like we've got a clear and evident charge going forward, and we appreciate that. Well, I guess without further ado, we should get down to the business of this grand competition. The Great American Water Taste Test, Best Water in the USA 2020 official results. Third place, California, Pines Community Services District. Good job, California. Whoa. All right. Second place. It's a tie. Now I get it. Indiana Maple Turn Utilities and South Carolina Jenkinsville Water Company. Well done. I told you it was tight up here. I told you. All right, first place, the 2020 Great American Water Taste Test champion, North Marshall Water District from Kentucky. Congratulations, guys. I just want to close. I've got a couple more sentences here. Small and rural communities, small and rural water systems across the nation do an amazing job delivering clear, clean, and great tasting water right to the customer's tap. Thanks to each and every one of you who took time to be away from your rural water and wastewater systems back home to attend our rally this year. You recognize the importance of advocating for all the small and rural communities across the country. Water is our lifeblood, the most basic civic necessity, and the most important resource on earth. Have a safe trip back home, and God bless you. On behalf of NRWA, I'm reminding you that when you drink the water, remember where it came from. Thanks and congratulations to our winners. Yes. And now, the winners, please come up. We've got picture time.
For those of you who participated in the Great American Water Taste Test and would like to pick up your engraved water bottles, they will be available behind the escalator in the closet coat room.